It is to prevent abuse of powers granted in the Constitution and prevent misconstruction. And yet they willfully misconstrue it.
Yes.
They did it back then. They're doing it now.
The Congress and the president are in open treason by the very constitutional definition. And, of course, they're engaged in other criminal activities like Fast and Furious. They are the enemy of America.
We're on.
Well, constitutional lawyer, Yale scholar, veteran, former Ron Paul staffer, founder of oathkeepers.org. Stewart Rhodes is our guest. I want to get to some calls, Stewart, and I want to have you back on for a whole other interview on this subject. But let's continue with the history, because these aren't just words we're saying here. We have a government that is totally illegitimate and has been caught committing so many crimes, it's dizzying, for special interest profits. And now they're openly shutting down free speech on the web and checkpoints and TSA checkpoints, total federalization, 10th, 9th Amendment violations. They're not just eating around the edges now. They are in full assault on the heart of every basic liberty, not even our Constitution or Bill of Rights, the finest example of it. They are burrowing into Magna Carta. They are annihilating just common sense. They are trying to manifest every even absurdist, dystopic cartoonism of tyranny, but they're setting it up beside us while liberty still is practiced and is ongoing, and the two rails are now going towards a collision course.
That's right, that they've created the second track, exactly like was done in Nazi Germany and Stalinist Russia, and unfortunately during the Civil War in the United States. But the Supreme Court put that genie back in the bottle in 1866. Lincoln opened the let the genie loose of martial law. Used martial law. The Supreme Court ruled this. Here's what they said: no usage of war could sanction a military trial for any offense whatever of a citizen in civil life, in no wise connected with the military service. Congress could grant no such power, and in honor of our national legislature be it said, it has never been provoked by the state of the country even to attempt its exercise. Even in the Civil War, the U.S. Congress didn't try to authorize military trial. So the current Congress has gone even further than what they did during the Civil War. So the court said one of the plainest constitutional provisions was therefore infringed when Milligan was tried by a court not ordained and established by Congress and not composed of judges appointed during good behavior. In other words, not an Article III court, not a jury trial. And this is what happened then is precisely the same thing that's happening now, and it's also exactly what the founders faced. You look at the Declaration of Independence, they list among the grievances is denial of jury trial, and also the attempt to impose upon them a jurisdiction foreign to their Constitution. And back then, what Parliament had done is they passed statutes that expanded the jurisdiction of the admiralty courts as a way to strip the colonists of their ancient right to jury trial.
And the exact same thing is being done here again. So what happens as the crooks, who admittedly they get caught insider trading, so Congress says, well, it's legal for us to because we say so. Again, another pure tyrant statement, the Führer precept that I'm the leader, I can do whatever I want. What happens as it becomes manifest that it is illegitimate, it is fraudulent, it's got a gaggle of criminals posing as media, deceiving and dissembling the truth over the public? They've seized the infrastructure. They're accelerating the dismantling of the country. They're demonizing Americans who actually know that they're the enemy and foreign and illegitimate. And it's all hurtling towards confrontation. And the enemy knows that we're now awake to them. And instead of just being hubris-filled, is scrabbling quickly to try to man the parapets against us as the economic collapse accelerates.
Well, they understand it's a two-way window, like you've said for a long time. it goes both ways. It's a two-way window. They understand that the more extreme they get and the more illegitimate they get, the more the curtains pull back and we see the little man behind the curtain. We realize how illegitimate and fraudulent he is. And so they're taking the mask off, but in many ways that's helping us. The NDAA is a gift to the freedom movement. I mean, they were already claiming these powers. Both Bush and Obama already used these powers. Bush detained 2 American citizens, Jose Padilla and Yasser Hamdi, and Obama just started killing American citizens. So they're already doing it anyway. So I like the fact that they were brazen enough to put it right there in black and white in a congressional statute, because now it's waking Americans up. Finally. I mean, I've been saying this since 2001. I've been screaming about this, and it was hard to get anybody to listen to it. But now they understand that they are destroying the Bill of Rights. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's right in their face. And so it's a tool for us to wake them up. So, but getting back to the history real quick, after that attempt to apply the laws of war, after that usage was ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court in 1866, it was never used again until 1942 during World War II by FDR. There were 8 German saboteurs that came ashore. One of them claimed to be a U.S. citizen. They were captured and tried by tribunal. And the court in that case, in Ex parte Queren, the same New Deal court that found it okay to intern the Japanese Americans, over 100,000 U.S. citizens, the same court that gave FDR everything else he wanted in the New Deal, unrestrained power, they ruled that the citizenship of the saboteur was irrelevant. They ruled that what counted, so the court said, was what he was accused of doing. So because he was accused of violating the laws of war, the court ruled that he would get a military tribunal rather than jury trial. So they totally upturned the Ex parte Milligan decision from 1866. They totally ignored the treason clause and violated the Constitution grossly. And that is the precedent that after that was not used again until post 9/11. And that's the precedent, Ex parte Queren, that the Bush administration reached back to from 1942 and grabbed it and said, hey, look, we can do whatever we want, even to American citizens.
But let's get to the heart of this. We're told this is done to stop al-Qaeda, who's been given Libya, who's being used to attack Iran, all on record. And when you get all the internal documents and the MIAC and Homeland Security reports and all the rest of it, it's admitted, as you know, but for the audience who may be new listeners, that it's all about conservatives, libertarians, patriots, oath keepers, Ron Paul, Bob Barr, Alex Jones, filmmakers. It's clearly an attack on the American people, and they're training the police for this. None of it has to do with the Arab terrorist that they were first selling. So they always sell on an unpopular minority, just like Hitler did. Then it's expanded onto everyone, and it's just so transparent. We've got to get that message out. But, I mean, constitutionally, obviously it's a 10th Amendment, 9th Amendment because of jurisdiction, and then it's a 4th Amendment. But all over the country now, they're having federally run, and there's a new one. If you read the fine print, the Orange County Register is reporting on this. We can put it on screen. Police use a roadblock to gather serial killer information. In the last few months, 3 homeless have been stabbed in a town. So they go out on a highway, and it shows video of it, shut down the highway, and ask people if they saw anything. I mean, this is completely random, makes no sense. And it's the feds running it. It turns out it's basically a TSA icebreaker of why they're setting up unconstitutional checkpoints. But many other areas, they even dispense with that. They just actually just pull you out of your car and search it. But I mean, you can clearly see them testing the perch. You can see them, really trying. Oh, the Army's here to help search your car for alcohol. Oh, the Marines are here. Now we see the military on the streets. I mean, they're really, and that's the proof of the criminality, is that they're doing it incrementally by design to acclimate everyone involved.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, it was just like what they did in Nazi Germany. The Reichstag fire decree was the reaction to the burning of the legislature, and it was supposedly aimed at the communists. But then they immediately expanded it out from there to trade unionists and then to Jews and on down the line. And the same thing is going to happen here. It's happening right now. The demonization, as you said, is targeted at constitutionalists, targeted at veterans, targeted at at conservatives and libertarians. And one thing people need to understand is that there was a law review article written back in 1996, right after Oklahoma City, where two lawyers argued that the laws of war should be used against McVeigh to try him by military tribunal, and they also said that Clinton should use the laws of war against the militia movement. And they cited to the ex parte Quirin case from 1942, and they argued that it should be updated and used against terrorist suspects. And so that is precisely what they argued and wanted, is what has now been put in place first by the Bush administration. And so the original idea of using the laws of war against terrorism was actually first thought of about it would be used against right-wing domestic terrorists and right-wing radicals. That was the first proposed use during the Clinton administration, but Clinton didn't do it. But Bush then did what Clinton did not do. He updated that old 1942 case and applied it to the so-called war on terror. And so now what Clinton did not have at his fingertips, Bush put in place, and now Obama has, like the Ring of Power out of the Lord of the Rings. It's right there on his desk. Whenever he wants to, he can grab it and use it.
And notice he went through all these different manipulations where, it didn't affect citizens, but then it did affect citizens, but don't worry, we won't use it against citizens, but he's going to veto it, so it's okay, and then he does sign it. I mean, they're using laws of war against us where we're the enemy, and it's all deception. But look at this article. Police use roadblock to gather serial killer information. If you scroll down to the video on the Orange County Register, it shows a major highway shut down, and people pull up to FBI with clipboards demanding they answer questions. I mean, this is clearly just turning everything into the TSA. And then they use an excuse to sell the public on it. We're trying to get a serial killer. No, they're not. They know full well this isn't how you find a serial killer. I mean, it's just all about them seizing the roads, seizing the infrastructure, and training us that they will stop us when they want, and we will answer their questions when they want. I mean, again, this is an FBI that ships guns into Mexico to blame the Second Amendment. This is a government that is terrorist. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Stewart, what would you do if you just pull up to a checkpoint with the FBI out of their jurisdiction on a major highway in the middle of California, in Orange County, in Anaheim, demanding to basically, answer their ghoulish questions? I mean, it's so sick. These people are so sick. And of course,
well, you have to refuse. We have to use civil disobedience, and you have to nullify as individuals. We have to start refusing and withdrawing our consent. And something else that has to happen. But again,
it's this idea that if anything could ever kill you, we've got to have checkpoints there. So, oh my gosh, 3 homeless have been stabbed to death here. And so we'll just start shutting down the entire area and making you all prisoners. I mean, do people see this is the perfect excuse to take over everything, and that the military-industrial complex is eating America right now?
Well, I think more Americans are waking up to the fact. And like I said, that's what's good about this, is the more they overstep and the more they do this, the more it wakes us up. But we have to, if we wait too long to fix this, then we will become acclimated. And, it's a choice between becoming the Fourth Reich. Are we 1934 Germany, where they just quietly went along with it and sat down and shut up because they were afraid of being jailed? Or are we 1774 America in the spirit of 76? That's what we have to choose.
Yeah, let's expand on that. I mean, let's expand on that. This is the entire acclimation program